Hello. Hello, everyone. It's a time. So we're gonna pick up from where we left off. Last time we did this, which I think was like a couple weeks ago. When was that? Almost exactly a couple weeks ago. Except that was on a Friday and not on a Thursday. Okay. I forgot I did that on a Friday. Anyway, so what we're doing today is we're reading a fanfic called Dragonache Awakening. I should have put, hang on, I should probably do that. One sec. I haven't put the link to the meme we're reading in the what's it called? Have I? I don't think I have. I'll fix that. I'll have to do that for the other stream as well. I didn't do that. So, this is like it's a Viva Pinata fanfic by a person who was in chat, name of Shadow Eval. We're reading it because, for the most part, we're reading it because like we were doing the what were we doing? We were doing the post fantasy storytime streams. The chat member popped in and go like, "Oh hey, this is cool. Can you read my fanfiction next?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So we've already gone through the first half of it. So this is gonna be like the second half, because we're gonna start with chapter 7 today, and there's like a few more chapters after that. It goes up to chapter 11, it looks like. So we should be okay to go. It doesn't seem like Shadow Eval is here right now, unfortunately, but hopefully they show up in a little bit or later. For our part, we're just gonna continue on. I haven't read ahead. I haven't read ahead. I also haven't looked into any like Viva Pinata lore or anything, so I'm still as clueless as I was when we first looked at the story. Get this on here. There we go. And this should be decent enough, I hope. I don't remember like what I did last time to have this like half decent like on the screen. It's possible it was nothing like this. In fact, it was probably nothing like this. But this is how I'm gonna have it. They look good on stream. Is that like legible? The text is too big for me now, but it should be better to see on stream. Okay, so when we left off, if I remember right, it's basically like a sort of like tragic romance meme. Somebody got married, or somebody almost got married, and then it got a little touch of edge towards the end. But there was supposed to be a wedding that was planned and was about to happen in like literally the space of a day, and then it got interrupted in a kind of like gory, edgy fashion. Very kind of like understated, very quick and get it over with, kind of like kind of happening for my taste. But that's what happened. That's as it was written. And we're gonna continue along now after May's run away Okay. Let's go. Oh wait, I should probably this somewhere where it's easier to deal with. There we go. I just need to be able to monitor the things I need to be able to monitor. There we go. Okay. Let's continue. May opened her eyes, her vision blurry. It was cold, damp, and the air smelled sour. It was raining and dark due to the large canopies of trees overhead. Her vision finally cleared, and she was where she was. Where am I? She muttered to herself. She upped as she tried to stand up. She looked at her arm to see it was covered in blood. Who's there? The witch heard rustling in a bush nearby and frantically looked around. She was too scared and in so much pain that she couldn't think straight. They could taste that silvery, metallic taste of blood in the back of her mouth. She hated it and gagged. Still fearful, she continued to look around in the trees. Through the ringing in her ears, she could hear a faint but spine-chilling hum. Looking around, she could make out a shadowy figure. It moved around so smoothly. Too smoothly. It was almost as if it was floating. No, it couldn't be the start of, she thought, fearing the worst. This is the end for me. They noticed the figure was circling her while the humming continued. Okay, so I was informed by Shadow of Val last time that, like, sometimes, I guess it seems like fanfiction.net will just, like, break your lines when you don't intend them to be broken. But I don't know if this, like, lack of punctuation here is because of that, or just a meme. Because, like, this would be, you would logically make this, like, one line with, like, this one, right? Okay. Alyssa sat in the tree as remorse filled her. She tapped the button on the side of the shock collar. The job is done, sir. The ginger said shakily. Good, return the headquarters. I have something to tell you. Alyssa let go of the button on the collar and jumped down from the tree she was in and headed to the volcano. It was carved to look like the madman himself, so it really wasn't much of a secret base. You took long, Pester Huff. Sorry, sir, the ginger said with a nervous smile. He rolled his eyes and stood up. You're possessive, you're getting a promotion. You can go around as you please, Alyssa smiled. Thank you, sir. She's doing her best to act normally. The plan was going perfectly, she thought to herself. The ginger then left Pester's secret base and headed to the deep wilds of Pinata Island. Hello? May was shaking badly as her head darted around in fear. The figure must have heard her voice as it stopped. Hang on a sec. Did we? Okay, wait. Yeah, and then, and for me, need. Okay, there's an ellipsis. It's hard to tell whether Alyssa's in the same place as May during that little bit. And then the travel to where she went happened, like, so fast. And then we go back to May, so it's a a tiny bit confusing there. So I'm not sure how much is happening and when and where. I think there's, like, a little transition, but, like, because I was told too that, like, fanfic.net makes that kind of hard to do, kind of hard to make it, like, clear where, like, little POV transitions happen. Or if I remember correctly, I think I was told that during the last stream. Looking at the way the music bit looks on stream, I should probably put, like, a little background here at some point. I'm not gonna do it now, it's gonna take too much time. And by too much time, I mean, like, a minute, 30 seconds. May was shaking badly in her head as her head darted around in fear. The figure must have heard her voice as it stopped humming and moving, but much to her horror, it started slowly, ominously moving towards her. Her heart was racing as beads of cold sweat ran down her head. As it slowly moved towards her, she got more and more terrified. May! The witch moved backwards in horror. How do you know my name? She said fearfully. Her eyes locked onto the ghostly being. You don't remember me, do you? The ghost lowered down until it was on its knees. Follow me. I'll explain everything to you soon. May tried to stand up, but the second she tried to, she yelped and fell back down. Here, let me help. The ghost knelt down and reached her hand out for May to shuffle away from them. Hey, it's okay. How do I know that you're not going to kill me? May hissed. Just the Phantom sighed and lifted her it there? Wait. Hang on. But we know... Wait, there? Okay, go slow it down. On its knees. Okay. Follow me, make it stand up. Okay. The ghost knelt down and reached her hand out. So the ghost is a girl, but we've gone back to gender. We were gender neutral to start with, but then we went gender neutral again after we gendered the ghost. Look, this is what I do, okay? I did this for Post Fantasy 2. I did this for Post Fantasy 2, okay? Where I pointed out, like, the faults, alright? It's fine. Shit, where was I? I know you're gonna kill me. Okay. Just the Phantom sighed and lifted their pale hands. I'm not gonna hurt you. I nodded nervously. The ghost hovered their hands over the witch's quivering legs. She watched as the cuts and bruises healed within seconds. Can you walk? They asked, and they lent a hand to the astonished woman. May finally managed to get up and thank the ghost. You trust me now? She nodded in agreement. She knew that she could just summon her spellbook with the snap of her fingers in case of danger. So, attacks were the least of her worries, and she had forgotten all about the previous events, so she had no need to go back. Alright, follow me. Everything will make sense soon. I hope so. Make yourself comfortable, the ghost said, as their twig-like hand beckoned over to a cotton pillow resting on the floor. He sat down, still shaking like a leaf in a hurricane, as the ghostly being sat in the air. The room was a twilight, though. The room was a twilight, though the darkness was broken. Okay, odd wording. The room was a twilight, though the darkness was broken by the faint flicker of melting wax candles, natural light from the circular window above a hammock. Walls were made of clay, strangely resembled Cito's hut, the only thing different being the aroma of lavender and cornflower. So, you said what? Yes, I know, the ghost sighed, and put their bony hands on their lap. They paused. I almost went my memes. Because that's what... That was like one of my guesses for the pronunciation before. In the verse string. May got a good look at them. The ghost looked emaciated and was semi-transparent. There were black, vein-like lines running down their arms, neck, and up their cheeks. Their voice was feminine and echoey. It sounded... Wait. Like it was double-voiced. Possessive, you're probably wondering why I took... What? Possessive, you're... I'm just gonna say that's supposed to be you were. You were probably wondering why I look the Stardos, aren't you? Is that meant to say, like, look like? Because the Stardos is supposed to be like a ghostly meme, right? I think we learned, and it was explained in chat in the last Storytime stream. I tried to get rid of Pester with brute force. By that I mean I tried to fight him. When I attacked him, he began summoning sour pinatas. I fought a group of Shelly Beans with confidence, a trio of Sherbats with energy, a couple of Crowlas with ease. They kept on coming. I wasn't going to stop, let alone turn back. Once the sour... Coacodiles? Cocodiles? Once the sour crocodiles started coming in, I kept going. Little did I know, this killed me. I fought off the sour pinatas like an idiot. Suddenly, one of them bit my arm off. I was in so much pain and tired that I passed out. When I woke up, I felt lighter than a feather. The pain from my arm wasn't there anymore. I looked at my missing arm to see if it was still there, but only the bone. I nodded and gestured to continue. Weird. Okay, this is like a little odd. So I don't know if this is like weird fanfic.net line break stuff. But like, weird we have like the closing parenthesis and the opening one when it's supposed to be like, it's the same paragraph, so like you just not have that. What's probably happening though is that maybe this is meant to be like a line break, and then just like maybe fanfic.net might have like ignored that, possibly. I saw you walking around calling my name, tears running down your cheeks. When I shouted back, like you couldn't hear me at all. Tears welled up in the witch's eyes. What I'm trying to say is, I'm your sister. At this point, May was trying to hold back the urge to break into sobs. Oh my god. May said, tears running down her cheeks. Kate! I can't believe I forgot my own sister. Kate leaned into... I think you want this to be two separate words. Because into sounds like she's leaning inside of her. I missed you too. Okay, so we got the long lost ghost sister memes. Okay, so it's spelled with an I, but this is supposed to be like Layla. I remember the memes. Layla weakly opened her eyes, a sharp pain filling her limbs. She reached into her pocket and got out her alert system. Oh right, yeah, that's like the weird cell phones in this world, right? I think that's what was explained in chat last time. The screen was shattered with the back half missing and the antenna was snapped off. Hello, the gardener said as she tried to get up. She yelped and slid onto her side. It was at that moment that she saw her arms and legs were splintered with wood and glass shards. Her sliding onto her side only making it worse. Blood was pouring from the cuts. She began to feel tired. With the last ounce of strength, she yelled once more, tears streaming down her face in pure agony, and fell onto her side. Guess this is the end, isn't it? She thought as her vision grew blurry. Over here, she heard a man's voice in the distance. It grew louder and seemingly closer. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw someone stand over her. Get the others! The other one yelled. Her vision started to turn red and blurry. She saw a pool of blood in the corner of her fuzzy vision. Layla's eyes closed and she groaned. Help. And after that, she finally blacked out. Okay, so like now we're changing POV again. Alyssa finally made it down the volcano ramp after what seemed like an eternity. Now she was free to roam. Now that she has the free roam ruffian rank, she could begin phase 2 of her plans. She headed toward the wild of Pinata Island, where an old friend lived. The ruffian whacked her way through the dense thicket of thorns and vines, and to see a light shimmering through. She got through. She was welcomed by the vibrant, gleaming fruits of a huge gem tree. Did she step into a fairy tale? Let's look at the gem tree in astonishment. The milk-white bark of the tree twisted around, as so the branches did. The golden gleaming leaves creating the crown of the tree, like the crown of a wealthy king. The prism of colors reflected onto the glowing veins of the gem. Bro, I can't read. The prism of colors reflected onto the glowing veins of the gem tree, making them look like they were famous. Bro. Making them look like there were rainbows flowing through the wood itself. Looking around even more, there were the rarest flowers ever discovered or documented on Pinata Island. Most of them have only been heard of in legends and myths. The prism rose, the golden lily, the moon's eyes, every one of them were real. I take it these are like... maybe these are like lore important memes. Or maybe like in the game or whatever, like there's crafting and like these are like hard to get materials. I don't know, and Shadow of Val's not in chat yet. Who goes there? A loud voice boomed. Alyssa looked up and saw a newtgat somehow gliding down to the ground. It morphed into a humanoid figure with a newtgat hat and mask. They had galaxy purple hair. She had heterochromia. One eye was rose quartz, while the other was a golden amber. She stared down at Alyssa with her steely gaze as her mouth cracked a smile. Alyssa, long time no sees, she said cheerfully. Need your help, Skylar. The mage raised a brow. With what? I'm stopping Pester. The evil smirk grew on the witch's face. Then I'm in. I'm gonna tare that man limb from limb for what he has done. She laughed. It was like she suddenly turned into a different person. We can't just go head first. He has hundreds of sours and ruffians, not to mention to start us. He'll be killed. So what are we gonna do then? The ginger ruffian grinned. We need to build an army. Meanwhile, May and Kate continued to talk until the sun went down. May had completely forgotten what had happened at the wedding. So, I was thinking, sis, the witch said hesitantly. Yeah? Do you want to live with me? The ghost's eyes widened. You sure? May smiled. Of course I am. Kate's expression quickly changed to scared, add worried. I feel like... So this is happening a lot in this chapter. And I don't remember if it happened much in previous chapters. But it feels... Now, maybe I'm reading it wrong. But it feels like every time I'm reading one person's dialogue, the opposite person is being named in the narration. Or the opposite person is being referred to in the narration. Like, I think this is... Okay, so, like... I was thinking, which said hesitantly, meaning that that's May talking, right? I think that's how she's referred to in narration. And she's getting an answer. Then, next paragraph, so it's May speaking again. Well, it would be the ghost eyes widened. Okay. It could just be a style thing. It's just something that stood out to me when I noticed it. I think we could just maybe chalk this up to like style. It's not necessarily like wrong or right. It's just like, oh, okay. I don't know if it's like wrong or right. I don't know if I would make that call with any kind of like authority. Of course I am. Kate's expression quickly changed to scared, add worried. What if other people see me? Don't worry about that. My house is surrounded by dunes. Okay, fine. You've convinced me. That's all it took? Kate said with a smile, rolling her eyes. Oh, no, she said it sarcastically. My bad. Okay. So this is it, May said with her arms outstretched towards the house. But wait, they're there already? Okay. Not bad. The Phantom crossed her arms and smiled. Let's go inside and I'll show you around. May opened the door and shouted. Storm, I'm home. A purple wild card, Corolla swooped into the room and landed on the witch's shoulder. They walked around the house, May showing Kate where everything is. So, where will I be staying? Kate asked, still hovering in the air. The attic. The witch smiled, pointing upwards. The soured ghost floated upwards, phased through the ceiling. Holy crap, this is big! Kate yelled and May laughed. I know it is. The ghost floated down to May once more. Oh, God. May said and sat in the chair, laying her head in her hands. What's wrong? I forgot about the wedding. Kate's eyes widened. What do you mean? May got up. Wait. Okay, never mind. I actually don't know who's talking now. I'm actually, okay, hang on. Okay. Holy crap. Wait, no. Oh, God. May said and sat in a chair, putting her head. What's wrong? So that's... Right. I forgot about the wedding. So presumably that's May answering this question. Kate's eyes wide. What do you mean? May got... Okay. Okay. I had to take a second. People were injured at the wedding. A sour Limosaurus ran through, destroying everything. She reached into her pocket. Her alert system wasn't there. Perhaps she lost it when running through the woods. One moment, please, she said, and headed to her room. May shut the door and grabbed a cheesecloth, short dress, with her classic poncho on top. She tied her dark brown hair into a ponytail and walked back downstairs. I'm heading into town. Want to come with me? I don't think I will. I'm going to stay here and take care of the piñatas. May nodded and walked out. The witch walked on a dirt path, down to the main village. She looked around, but it was empty. There was nearly no one, other than the occasional helper. May heard the sound of sirens blaring in the distance from Patch's car. Is that like a person? Probably should be capitalized in that case, right? Unless it's not a person. Then I don't know what it is. Might be like some Viva Pinata lore. Signs blaring in the distance from Patch's car. She continued walking. She opened the door to Arthur's bar and sat down. Hello again, May. Arthur said cheerfully. One sparkling dragon's breath, please. May said and put the payment on the counter. You okay? Arthur asked. The witch sighed. Yeah, I'm okay. He smiled at him. Her head resting on her arms. The bartender placed a drink on the counter and slid it to May. Is this a Britishism? Is this like a British thing? Because I think bartender is like one word. I thought it was. Could be wrong. Could be mistaken. Yeah. It's one word. But that could be like a British English thing. Where was I again? Oh, the bartender placed the drink on the counter and slid it to May. She picked up the glass and went to sit on a table. It was more empty than usual. Usually there is at least a bit of chatter. So, got it. Okay, we're switching POV again to like a completely different location again. So, got an idea of who will be in our army? Skylar asked. I mean, unless they're actually in the bar and like May's about to overhear their conversation, and they're going to have a fight. So got any idea of who will be in our army? Skylar asked. I mean, 4 are going to be enough to take down Pester. Pester, you say? Skylar and Alyssa look over to see a young woman. Around the age of 24, they stood up and walked over to them. To them? Are you planning on taking down Pester? Alyssa nodded. Then I'm in. What's your names, by the way? What's your names? Alyssa, and this is Skylar, Alyssa said. Good to be. They are in the fucking bar! I was just. No! I didn't think that was actually what happened! No! Okay. They were actually in the same room. I was just saying that because I thought it was like another switch to like them to like the story going to like two different characters in a different location again. I didn't think they were actually in the same place. All right, it's fine. It's fine. Good to meet you. I'm May, a witch. Skylar shook May's hand and gestured for her to sit with them. So why are you planning on defeating Pester? The ginger asked curiously. My parents were killed by ruffians when I was 10. They burnt my home down, and I and my sister were the only ones left. My sister was older than me, so she took care of me until she eventually died to Pester. That's so sad, Alyssa said. Why are you guys looking to defeat Pester? May asked, raising a brow. Rather not say, the ginger said, rubbing the back of her neck. Kate sat on one of the rocks, her hair blowing in the desert breeze. She watched the piñatas played. The sand swirled around and around in the warm air. The cacti stood tall, shielding their beautiful pink flowers with their long branching arms from the hot sun beaming down onto them. Huh? Kate could hear shouting in the distance. She debated whether she should go check it out or not as she rested her head on her emaciated hand. But I can't leave the piñatas. Probably lower the music just a tiny bit. Seems like it's a little touch loud. But I can't leave the piñatas, the Phantom shrugged, as she floated off the rock in which she sat on? Surely we mean on which. She levitated over the scorching sands. Hey, that's like a good thing about being a ghost though, right? Like, if she's like barefoot right now and like walking on desert sand, like she can't feel it because she's a ghost. Or she's a ghost so she could like float over it. Like that's like super convenient. She levitated over the scorching sands, making it over one of the dunes. It appeared to be that Syrupant and a Smorpion were fighting. Kate rushed over to attempt to stop the fight, but the Syrupant ended up losing. The pinata fell to the ground as its confetti discolored and grew pale. The Phantom picked it up, looking at it worryingly. She sat down with the injured pinata in her arms, thinking of what to do. My magic only helps humans, not pinatas, she thought to herself. Out of nowhere, she heard an eerie song. It was gibberish, but it sent a chill down her spine. Phantom stared into the forest next to... But she was in the desert. Is Pinata Island like Minecraft, where it's like you can have like one biome like next to another biome, and there's like a clear borderline between the two, where it's like you have desert, and then like literally like 2 feet away, suddenly sprawling thick forest? Is that how this world works? I mean, fine if it does. I just don't know if that's how it is. The Phantom stared into the forest next to them. There were 2 glowing white eyes, one higher than the other. Kate knew exactly who it was. Step away from the pinata, please, the figure said in a husky voice. Kate put the pinata down. Kate put the pinata down beside her and floated away from it. So you got soured by that fat hoggart too. The Stardust proceeded to raise his whacking stick, smashing the pinata in a single blow. Yeah, Kate's face grew hot. What is this feeling? The Phantom looked at the emaciated Reaper. His green two-tone scarf hung down to the ground where he was floating. The green triangles on the ends made it look as if it had teeth. We're already on chapter 9. We're getting through this pretty quick. Although I was told that chapter 11 has like a much higher word count than like every chapter that like precedes it. I was kind of worried this was going to happen. Like this is why I didn't want to go much further than I did last time, because I didn't want it to be like 1 or 2 chapters left and then it's like just like a 10-minute strip. Alyssa took a deep breath, placed down a large piece of blue paper. What's that? May asked in confusion. The floor plan of Pester's hideout, the ginger said in a smug voice. Anyways, I have 2 more friends that were locked inside Pester's base. 3 of them all looked at the blue sheet of paper. And who's speaking here? Is it still... if I remember right, I think Alyssa is who the narration is referring to when it says the ginger. So if it's still her speaking, I don't know why the line break is there. Unless it's like just fanfic.net doing weird shit again. So I think I said this before, but I think I remember Shadowbell saying in chat last time that like sometimes they'll just be these random line breaks for no reason, and that's just like beyond their control. And we create a distraction. Get into the lab and free them. Skylar raised a brow. Aren't wrong there like over 100 sours waiting there? Wait, and that's the right there. Well, I do have a potion which can unsour pinatas. The ginger smiled. We can work together to find a way to make a smoke screen that unsours pinatas to clear the way. Sorcerer put her hands together with a smirk on her face, and May smiled. Alright. There is a back door leading directly into the lab through a hallway. May and Skylar, you make a smoke screen to conceal us from any cameras and unsour any potential sours. As it pointed to the hallway. What if the Stardust finds us? Skylar asked. Good question. We use a sick pinata as bait. He will have to go to that garden to destroy it. So we will have one around We will have one around 1 hour to execute this Wait, hang on. I'm misreading this. What if the Stardust finds us? Skylar asked. Good question. We use a sick pinata as bait. He will have to go to that garden to destroy it. So we will have about 1 hour to execute this plan. And that is an estimate. Oh god, my head. Like, okay, we're changing. Okay, so now we're either changing POV to a new scene and a new character, or Layla is also in the tavern, in the bar, like next to these three as they're talking about this plan. It could be one of those two things because it happened before. I was right when I was like presuming that before, when I stated that as a possibility. I didn't think, when I stated that as a possibility, I didn't think that was actually what was going to happen. Okay. Oh god, my head. Layla groaned, grabbing the back of her head, trying to sit up. Oh, thank god you're okay, Layla. She knew that stuttering voice. The gardener opened her eyes. What happened? I don't know exactly, but a group of people came in with lots of injured residents. Young gardeners raised their eyebrows in shock. Is Alex okay? She said in worry. Patch's mouth curved down. Sorry. He dipped his head in apology and tears rolled down Layla's cheeks. No, he said shakily, putting her hand over her mouth. Sorry, Layla. Oh, no. No, 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 no! She grabbed her hair, pulling it as the gardener sobbed. The gardener sobbed. It seems... It seems an interesting choice to me to go from using a pronoun and then proceeding to then go into using a noun instead. Like, after, I mean. That's, like, an interesting choice. She grabbed her hair, pulling it as the gardener sobbed. Her eyes shut tightly. That almost makes it seem like whoever's grabbing their own hair is somebody separate from Layla. Like, almost, kinda. Patch put a hand on her shoulder in reassurance and she slapped it away. This can't be true. She looked up shakily. Can it? The doctor shook his head. Not many survived. Possessive, you're lucky to be alive. I don't care if I'm lucky or not. Layla stood up. I'm gonna go, she said, her eyes staring ahead blankly. Make sure to take care of the others. The gardener walked out the door. She didn't say a word. There were bandages on her legs, which hurt, but she didn't care. Tear stains ran down her bisque-colored I actually don't know how to pronounce this word. Her bisque-colored cheeks. She felt numb, like a black hole was in the place of her heart. Layla finally arrived home, grabbing a tiny pouch from one of her drawers. She sat on her bed. The pouch was filled with a glistening powder called angel feather dust. Gardner removed the bloody bandages and sprinkled it on the half-healed wounds on her legs and arms. They somehow disappeared in an instant. Once the pain had stopped, she stood up and stared out of her window. Her home was just outside the village, but she could still get a good view. May. Who are those people she's with? She thought to herself. May was with two other strange-looking individuals. Knock, knock. The gardener swiftly turned around and headed to the door to answer, wiping away the tear stains from her face before opening the door. Hello, May, Layla said cheerfully with a bright smile. I'd like to ask. We're planning to defeat Pester, but us on our own will not be enough to take him down. Come on, it'll be better to discuss this inside rather than out. The gardener gestured with a forced smile, as May and the other two people followed behind her. But... okay. So, this seems to be happening, like, weirdly fast. 1. 2... they were just discussing this shit in public. But I guess Layla isn't aware of that, right? Okay, fair enough. Alright, fine. Layla's not aware of them literally talking about this in the bar. That's fair. That's a fair point. Come on, it'll be better to discuss this inside rather than out. Gardner gestured with a forced smile as many of the other two people followed behind her. The four of them sat down on a light forest green cabriole-styled sofa. I've never encountered this word before. Cabriole. A jump in which one leg is extended into the air, forward or backward. The other is brought up to meet it, and the dancer lands on the second foot. It's a ballet move. Oh, what is a cabriole chair? Okay. It's just one of those normal-ass chairs that has curved legs. Alright. Okay. I've never encountered that word. I'm not a ballet dancer. Okay. Cabriole-styled sofa as the light from the window shone down onto the dark brown oak coffee table. These are the other two people who have joined. Alyssa and Skylar. I take it that you want to take down Pester too? They both nodded in agreement, and Layla took a deep breath. I'll join. May raised a brow. You sure? The gardener looked at the dark-skinned witch. Yes, I'm very sure. That's why you came to me, right? To ask me. But why? The young gardener looked the witch in the eyes, speaking in a stern tone. May sighed. Well then. I guess you're working with us. After a lot of talking and going over the plan, the four of them departed, going their separate ways. Oh god, Layla groaned as she slid down the door, putting her head in her hands. What I got myself into? No, you have to do the... Okay, I think it's just a... Is this like a weird line break, or is this like some odd choice? I can't tell, because apparently, like, Fanfic.net will do weird things like that. This has to be a deliberate line break because there's an ending, there's like an end quote here, right? No, you have to do this for Alex, the gardener said, trying to motivate herself. For Alex. Her eyes welled up with tears. The memories hit her like a sour limesaurus. Limesaurus? I'm so sorry. She sniffed, wiping away her tears, but they kept coming. Like a waterfall, they ran down her face. The regret in her heart made it feel like it were to implode at any second. She no longer had someone who can comfort her. Her closest friend was gone, her parents too. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She repeated to herself over and over. It's like a dark force was wrapped around her heart, squeezing it tightly. No, she chuckled. It's not my fault. Layla laughed, a psychotic grin forming on her face. Oh, it's Pester's fault. Always has been. I'm just thinking of the fucking astronaut meme. Where, like, he looks, it's like, it's just X. And, like, the astronaut behind him has the gun, and he's like, always has been. Like, I'm just thinking of that now. Oh, I'm gonna make him pay. He will know the true meaning of pain. Yes, he will. The gardener smiled widely, clenching her fists. She punched the wall as hard as she could, the sheer rage inside of her trying to break free like a feral Malawolf. Ow! Damn it! Nice. Fucking owned. Forgot how hard these walls are, she huffed. Her fists were red, but not bleeding, thankfully. Ever get so enraged you just self-own? May and Skylar was sat on an iron bench. Wait. May and Skylar were sat on an iron bench, talking, laughing. The warm breeze blowing through the light green blades of grass. The skies were a patchy sapphire blue, as the bright sun shone dimly through the gray clouds. Pop it. This is capitalized, so it makes me think this is probably meant to be a period. I mean, like, comma and period are, like, right next to each other, so it's, like, a really easy typo to make, unfortunately. Poppies and daisies dotted around the paths. The streets were empty. It felt eerie. No sound other than the wind and the occasional parry bow or purgeon squawk. Pudgeon squawk. So what magic do you know? The sorcerer asked, raising a brow. Well, I can make objects float and move. Most of my other spells require herbs, though. Any element-based magic? May shook her head. Not even fire? Skylar stared in shock at the brunette. Want me to show you some magic of mine? The sorcerer stood up with a smirk. I mean, if you're so confident, then why not? Skylar closed her eyes and raised her hand, exhaling. A large light blue circle with runes glowed at her feet. Upon snapping her fingers, a ball of fire appeared in her hands. May watched in astonishment. There were practically stars in her eyes. You have to teach me this! The sorcerer sighed as the ball of fire disappeared into thin air, lowering her hand. You have a lot to learn. The smell of old books filled the large room, towering shelves packed with pages of knowledge. Layla ran her pale tan fingers along the old dusty books and scrolls. She wanted something to take her mind off of the previous events. The cold library air against her skin gave a strange feeling of relaxation. The gardener's hand landed on a small book. Moving from the shelf, she opened the book. A cloud of dust bursting from the old pages. It was leather bound, most likely made from scraps that turn up on the shore. Threads seemed to not only hold the pages together, but also the gray, water-worn leather cover. She skimmed over the pages, some words barely visible while others missing entirely. The paper was warped, edges creased and folded. Snow falls on cold ground, skies gray, no longer clear. Don't draw near, as there is a cave here. Those who try, their heart turns cold. Patterns of pink and gold, a ferocious beast, with wings outstretched. Many have thought, but could never fetch. None can flee as it breaks doors, walls, and floors with its sharp claws. Get caught in its grasp. Don't try to grasp it as it crushes you to a pulp. This is your fault. Consumer of all, it stands tall, its jaws agape, hungry for a taste of its victims once more. Layla raised her eyebrows. That description is awfully familiar, she thought to herself. Could it possibly... No, it couldn't be. But they were meant to be just a legend. Gardner walked out from a new row of bookshelves over to a small desk. Hello, ma'am, how may I help you? Librarian asked as they yawned. Trying to make it not appear so. Their black hair spiraled into a messy bun with a couple of locks hanging down over their face in which they could occasionally blow out of the way. Okay. I'd like to buy this book, please. You don't buy books from a library, though. Layla said as she placed two books carefully onto the wooden desk. The sleep-deprived librarian looked at Layla, then down at the book, back at Layla, as if they were to say something. However, no words were spoken. 5 cubic centimeters, they said, breaking what felt like a dense silence. Layla reached into her pocket, feeling around until she felt this cold, smooth texture of a round yet flat object. Pulling it out of her pocket, she placed it down on the table. The librarian slid the book over the desk to the pale tan gardener. She clutched the book tightly, but doing her best not to damage it. Layla thanked the librarian and made her way out. Hello? Layla called as she nervously walked through the doorway. Pinata nets and tranquilizers rested against the wall. Wait, where are we now? Hello? Layla called as she nervously walked through the doorway. Pinata nets and tranquilizers rested against the wall next to both large and small cages. She parted the bead curtains and ducked under, walking past them. Wait, she's still in the library from which you can apparently buy books? Or she's somewhere else now? And if she's somewhere else now, where is she gone? I guess we'll find out if we keep reading. Ah, hello. What brings you here, Layla? Asked a tall woman in a comically tall mask. The eyes of the mask had squirrels obscuring her eyes. A fishing rod-like stem, holding a joy sweet, dangled from the top of the mask, acting as some sort of lure. It was a light green with large magenta painted lips. She appeared to have 4 arms, her other 2 stemming from her back, made from cloth. They seemed to have a mind of their own, occasionally tapping her on the shoulder while her own pale arms hung down by her sides. I have heard that a Dragonache resides in a cave in the Pinarctic. Aren't they just stories and myths? Asked the huntress with a tone of disbelief. I thought the same until I found this book. She handed over the leather-bound book. She began flicking through the pages. There isn't any way this is real. The tall woman chuckled nervously, looking at the book. She looked at the gardener, closing the book with one hand. You're the only one who I think could catch a Dragonache, let alone confront one. I know I don't normally question my client's intention. What are you planning to do with said Dragonache? If it exists, that is. Layla sighed. See, having Layla's side, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this paragraph. Like maybe in the next line somewhere instead. But again, like I said, it's happening often enough that I think it's probably like a stylistic choice. I feel that it may help in stopping Pester. A creature like that will help even more in achieving that goal. The tall woman stopped as if deep in contemplation. I'll help you with this, but you'll owe me. The gardener nodded. Thank you, Gretchen. Okay, here we are. Chapter 11. Meanwhile, in May's house, Kate sat on an oak chair, deep in her thoughts. What to do, she pondered. Her chin rested on her hand as she leaned against the shiny oak table. The Phantom glanced at a small vase with colorful patterns, an array of buttercups, poppies, and tulips jutting out of the top. Her mask placed at the opposite end of the table. Dark brown hair floating in floating waves, appearing to move on its own. Kate's blue eyes shone in the light, like sapphires in contrast to her sickly pale skin, in which had bubble-like vitiligo as a byproduct from the sour Wait, spelled different. Crocodile bite? Suddenly, a small piece of purplish blue confetti fluttered down in front of her. The Phantom looked up to see Storm, who had flown over to her, now perched on the table. The Corolla had a precise wing of its own. Grayish-silver color shimmered in the light. Kate scratched the top of the pinata's head, and it purred? She wasn't sure, but it was clear that they enjoyed it. The joy from Storm made a faint smile form on the Phantom's pale face as it made the small chirp. Its eyes closed and confetti ruffled. Despite being made of cardboard and paper, the pinata possessed a soft, feathery texture. It appeared to not care for the Phantom's hands being as cold as they are. Couldn't they feel the cold? She wasn't sure. Didn't matter anyways. Kate rose up from the chair, setting her sour Malawolf mask to cover her sickly pale skin, and levitated over to the back door, phasing through it, almost as if it were not even there at all. When she passed through it, the bright sun beamed down onto her black and ruffiest red mask. That's a golden sand swirled and danced around her feet. Look, sometimes a word throws me off, okay? The hot desert breeze only assisting the sand in its mesmerizing dance. The Phantom continued to float around until she reached a large rock, just on the outskirts of her sister's garden, which she usually sits on when she's outside. The chatter of desert pinatas filled the air. Geckos and Sweetles, play fighting as camellos, relaxed in the scorching sun. Volturos and eglares flew overhead, casting shadows as they circled, shading the serpents and smorpions below. Beside, sitting down on the rock, Phantom pondered. Will I see him again? Kate thought harder. Like, the more I hear some of these names for, like, these pinata animals, the less I think, like, okay, I don't even know Viva Pinata, but, like, I'm getting Bug Snacks vibes. The pinatas would be fine while I'm gone anyways. 15 minutes had passed before she finally decided to stand up and go looking for Destardos. The hot desert breeze ran its ethereal fingers through her wavy hair. The scenery soon changed from a sandy desert to a forest. Bottles clinked loudly alongside bags of herbs swaying. The witch's arms... Okay, I think we changed perspectives again. The witch's arms wrapped around an assortment of bottles and numerous other ingredients, holding as much as she could possibly physically carry. Here's the stuff, May said, loudly placing the bottles onto the floor. You said that you could make objects float. Why didn't you just put it in a bag and make that float instead of carrying them? Skylar cocked her head to the side. She was sat on the floor, long hair spread out along the floor. First of all, it's easier. Second of all, it requires concentration, and the heavier the item, the heavier the item, the tiring it is. The sorcerer shrugged. Fair enough. Out of the corner of the witch's eye, she caught sight of a large round metal thing. It was difficult to make sense of the object since the room was dim twilight, only a couple of specks of light shining through the far-off windows. Why is that here? She pointed to the metal bowl stood in the middle of the room. It's a cauldron. Never seen one before? Oh, that makes sense. Sorry, I wasn't sure what it was. It's really dark in here. May gave a faint chuckle. I was about to say, I was going to be really surprised if you hadn't seen a cauldron before. She ignored Skylar's remark and snapped her fingers Wait. Okay, this should probably be like a period. She ignored Skylar's remark and snapped her fingers. A large, thick, bulky book appearing with a faint flash of light and began flicking through the numerous pages, muttering. I don't know why we're ending with a semicolon. I don't know how much I'm willing to chalk up to, okay, this is probably like just British English. But I don't know, but like I also don't know how you correctly write in British English. It's like maybe ending a sentence with a semicolon is correct in some cases. I don't know. Sour cure, here we go. May placed a finger on a page which had a list of numerous different ingredients, most likely being used in the concoction. So what do we need? Cola confetti, water lily, honey, and either pumpkin or bluebell seeds. The witch listed off items and turned to the pile of random vials and bottles. Well, I had the Krolla confetti. May spoke, her pocket stretched out. Wait, Pinata shed? Skylar stared in confusion, and May nodded with a small chuckle. Now we need water. Sorcerer stood up and walked over to the bulky cauldron. Holding her hand over the cauldron, a loud splashing sound echoed from the cauldron, but May couldn't what Skylar was doing. Snow dances is... Okay, this seems like a random line, so I think this is another shift in perspective. Snow dances and falls from the sky, blowing like a storm. The visible landscape pillowed with glittering snowdrifts. Are you sure this is the right place? The huntress queried, her voice raised, with the hope that Layla would be able to hear her through the wind as it whistled against their ears. Don't go. Turn back. Leave before it's too late. The frosty air's pleas could not be understood by human ears. I think it is. The gardener glanced down at the book. She could barely distinguish the tattered old journal from her own gloved hands. Even the numerous layers of clothes, the snap of the Pinarctic wind never ceases nor holds back. As both of them walked, the cave silhouette became more and more visible, the thick Pinarctic snow making a loud creaking and grinding noise beneath their feet. Long bulky icicles sparked in the dim light. their tips sharp as sewing needles or as sour sherbet's fangs. Gretchen took off one of her gloves and placed a hand on the wall of the cave, running her pale fingers along it. The cave's walls were made of pure shiny ice, so smooth, too smooth, almost as if it were not naturally occurring, as if it were made by human hands, perfectly preserved and untouched for centuries after. These walls. This place would be hundreds of years old, the huntress muttered, pulling the glove onto her bare hand once more. Layla's breath came in puffs of white smoke like a mini snow flurry as the cold air bit at the parts of her face which were not concealed by her sky blue mask. Flakes of snow and frost covered her hair. Her hair, shoulders, and arms, which clung and refused to fall off, no matter how violently she brushed or shook it off. The two of them pushed through the cave. Gretchen held an oil-lit lantern up, illuminating the seemingly never-ending tunnel, until something caught Layla's eye. Hey, Gretchen, take a look at this. On the wall of the cave were strange markings. As the gardener ran her fingers across it, she realized these weren't paintings. They were engravings. Symbols from an ancient language forever lost to time. At the center, okay, spelling center like that is 100% a British English thing. I'm not going to call that out. Or I'm going to call it out as being correct. At the center of the engravings was a small hole. She reached inside, feeling around. She found a small object upon touching it. She found a small object. Upon clicking it, a touch could be heard. What was that? Two of them suddenly felt the ground shake violently as a large segment of the ice wall lowered to reveal another passage. Layla and Gretchen sat stunned, staring at the large, dark entrance. Here, I actually thought this was a cave, the gardener commented, still staring at the mouth of the entrance. Let's not sit around and do nothing. As Gretchen watched over, she examined the entrance. The floor was just as shiny as the walls. Just feeling the ice with her gloves sent a shock of cold up her spine. She wouldn't dare touch that with her bare hands. The floor was really slippery. Mind your step, she warned, beckoning Layla to follow her. As they walked through the newly discovered passage, the 16-year-old gazed at the walls. The ice was so shiny and smooth, almost like glass. It didn't seem like normal ice, however. Faint patterns could be seen behind the ice. It's almost impossible to see, however, due to the light of Gretchen's lantern and the reflectiveness of the ice. It was so shiny that it acted like a mirror with a blue tint. Despite supposedly being extremely old, not a single arachnid web lined the walls. Well, it's cold as fuck, right? Why would a spider be here? Not a speck of dust in sight. How is this possible? Well, I mean, okay, I guess they're piñata spiders, right? So, like, they can go wherever they want. Like, they probably can't feel temperature. Alright, never mind. Turn out the lantern for a moment. Why? We need this to see. Just trust me. With that, a small clang was heard as the hunter shut two lanterns cover. Whoa. What a sight it was. Upon getting rid of the light, the walls lit up. Swirling patterns could be seen lining the walls with an array of swirling prismatic colors. A sight to dwell upon and never forget. The duo continued to press on through the passage. Gradually became larger and larger until they finally reached an enormous room. The swirling lights were especially bright, illuminating not only the walls and ceiling, but also the floor. The room was like a dome except with a large mound in the middle. It was not fully illuminated. Snap! A large noise echoed throughout the room. Layla looked down to see what she thought was a stick. She picked up the mysterious item, and upon closer inspection, a chill ran down her spine as her heart sank. What she held in her hand was not of a stick, but instead was a bone. Looking around, she realized that the floor was not covered in lumps of ice. They were piñata candy and bones. Piñatas don't have bones, she thought to herself. But then it finally clicked. They weren't the bones of piñatas. The bones of human beings. Gretchen, we made a huge mistake coming here, she yelled, staring in horror at what lay in her hands. Her body began shaking as her breathing quickened. A deep growl could be heard. She wanted to move, but her body refused her control. It was like she was frozen solid. Layla, get out of here! She heard the huntress yell. With all her might, she finally managed to stand, but her legs refused to move. The growling became louder. Gardner's legs finally unfroze, and she began to run for the exit. Forgetting that the floor was made of ice, the creature roared and flew up from behind the giant pile. Its wings were large enough to eclipse the moon. Only its silhouette was visible. The creature dove down, towards the terrified Gardner. Layla ran as fast as she could, forgetting she was running on ice. She lost her footing, falling face first into the ice. With a loud thud, the creature landed above the Gardner, pinning her. She rolled over to see the large creature. Its 4 amethyst eyes stared maliciously. The pupil of each eye were a different color. Maybe we want like a little punctuation mark there. One eye was red, fading to green. Another was magenta, fading to purple. Deep blue, fading to sky, and a yellow, fading to orange. Teeth bared, and its nose scrunched up. The creature had confetti on the sides. On the sides of the head. Wait, the creature had confetti on the sides of the head. The confetti was light yellow and a pastel orange. Stretched from the mouth to the nose to the top of the head. White oval spots lined above the nose to the top of the head. The creature blinked, and its growling ceased. It began to change shape, shrinking down as its wings disappeared entirely. Hello there. You can speak? Layla stared at the creature, still trembling. First it attacked and now it's friendly? I thought you were Pinata for a second. The strange Pinata laughed and stood up. What are you? Creature gave the gardener a confused look. What am I? Thought you humans knew who I was. Your people would worship me, make offerings, pray for my power and stuff. Layla slowly shook her head, still staring at the creature. She was shaking less, but didn't feel any less terrified. It was at that moment that Gretchen took out one of her tranquilizers, which was painted to match her iconic purples and greens, shooting it. Wait. It was at that moment that Gretchen took out one of her tranquilizers, which was painted to match her iconic purples and greens, shooting it, hitting the creature on the leg. A little bit. Okay, so the feeling I get from like a lot of these commas is like it feels like a little run-on in some of these instances. Makes it a little tough to read, especially aloud. Ow. A bit rude, don't you think? They remarked, pulling the dart from their leg and tossing it to the floor. Human weapons don't work on me. The humanoid Pinata sighed and continued. My name is Movada. Does that ring any bells? Layla once again shook her head. You ever heard the name Movada and there have never been any sort of rituals or offerings or quiet you? Movada snapped, throwing the huntress an unfriendly glare in her direction. My name's Layla. Need a apostrophe here. My name's Layla. The gardener did her best to stand up, only for the strange Pinata human to help her up. They were unsettlingly strong. Being able to just pick her up like some toy only made Layla picture how powerful this creature really was. Tranquilizer darts had no effect on them either. Who knew what they're capable of? There we go. That's it. That's the last half thus far, and just the end of this particular story, Dragonache Awakening. All right, so it feels like a lot happened very quickly. Not sure how I feel about that. It feels okay. So, well, okay. A lot happening very quickly seems to be the general theme in this particular story, right? So, like, we have two people meeting, and then one of them gets hit in the head with a coconut, and then they meet this other girl, and then they become friends with this other girl, like, seemingly super fast. Although I think the narration stated that was like over the course of like a few days to like maybe even like a month. But then you have a wedding happen. Like, there was a proposal. Like, somebody proposed. 2 people got engaged. And then the wedding happened literally the day after the proposal. So that happened super fast. But then the wedding got crashed in a very literal sense. There was a little bit of description of the gore. That's fine. But then May ran away from that. She was supposed to be the bride. So she's like traumatized and everything. And she met a ghost. She accepted it pretty quick. Invited her ghost sister to live with her. Her ghost sister accepted that pretty quick. Then Alyssa, who's like a slave, is no longer a slave, which is fine. But now she wants to take down our villain. And then there was the part where I thought it was a scene transition. I thought it was like a perspective transition, but like no, they were just like talking in the same bar that May happened to go to drown her sorrows. Except she didn't seem to be drowning in sorrow very much. So like another example of things kind of happening very fast. At least to me, I don't know. I guess if you want the story to like not be like super long, and depending on what you want to focus on, like what elements you want to focus on, in regards to the themes, right? Because like it's supposed to be like a romance tragedy deal. So I mean, maybe you would focus more on that than like everything else. I don't know. How far in are we? I'm sorry, Shadow of Hal. Unfortunately, I literally just finished chapter 11. I'm summarizing what I've read between both streams and kind of like how I feel about it, I guess. My knee-jerk reaction. Let's see. So it feels like, so the proposal happened, then the wedding happened super fast, which I thought maybe was part of the joke. But then everything after the wedding has happened like super fast too. I liked the detail of Layla kind of losing it when she agreed to help the other 3 like fight our villain. That was fine because she's in grief, right? So like it's fine if she like if she like breaks down in such a way that isn't like she's crying, but more like she's kind of like slipping a little bit. I'm chill with that. I kind of like that detail. That was okay. But like May seemed to get over things a touch fast. I still think it's fucking hilarious that like the other 2 characters, Skylar and Alyssa, are like just sitting there in the bar that May just happens to frequent when she just happens to go there to drown her sorrows, and she just happens to hear them talk about what they're talking about. Does she? I probably have to look at the previous stream. Is she not aware of Alyssa's role in what happened to her wedding? Yo! That's probably set up for future drama. If she's not aware. Which is like a really obvious like setup, right? What else is like an example of things like happening like super fast? I think that's basically it. It just seems to be sort of like a theme. It's one of the only inns on the island, and no, May is not aware since she was on a branch watching the scene. Oh, like she was like watching, like Alyssa was like watching everything unfold from afar. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I got what you meant. I got what you meant. It took me a second to realize you meant that that's what you meant. Oh, okay, so does Pinata Island work sort of like Minecraft, where, where, like you have like the different biomes and like clear-cut borders between those two biomes? Because, we were with Kate, the ghost sister, and she was like playing with the pinatas, and then, what's his face showed up? The Stardust, right? But like she's hanging out in the desert, and she's hanging out with one of these pinata guys. Oh no! It was like one that like died or got killed by another pinata or something. But when she saw the Stardust, like he was standing in a forest, so that just made me picture like literally like if you take your two hands and put them together side by side, like, and one of your hands is desert and your other hand is like thick forest, like that's kind of like what I imagined. And it's like, is that just how things work in this world? It's like Minecraft? Which, I mean, I'm willing to accept if that's like part of the setting. It's a fade to different places. It never really says or explains the different locations canonically. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, and you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong. Chapter 11 was like pretty long compared to everything that came before it. The ice and snow areas, canonically, you got the desert on the left, grassy in the middle, and icy to the right. Parallel. Desert left, grassy middle, icy right, parallel. Okay. I'm not sure I entirely understand. I'm just going to imagine that, like, looking at a satellite image of Pinata Island is sort of like looking at a satellite image of the island of Maranui, and just leave it at that. I'm just gonna imagine that's how it be. It's a weird thing, never maps out the rest of it, so you just improvise and you can't really explain it. Okay. So that's just the way it is, like, in the source material. It's like there's not a whole lot to work with there. Okay, fair enough. Anyway. So, I think that's gonna be about it for now, because, that's pretty much the whole story. For now. Until, I guess, Shadowbell writes more. Mini spoiler for Chapter 12, a bit of ghost romance boiling. That seems to be the implication with Ghost Sister being like, when will I see him again? In Chapter 11. So, that might very well happen. See, the thing that made okay, so the part where May meets Alyssa and Skylar, the part that makes that funny to me is because I thought it was like another transition. I thought it was just like, oh, okay, these two are still where they met up, and they're like they're at like the one girl's house or something, and then and that's where they were discussing that. But no, it turns out they were at the bar, and it turns out like May was like right there, stood up from the bar, turned around, walked over to the table, and was like, "Yo, what are you guys talking about? Oh, you're gonna go take down a pet? Okay, I'm in." Like, funny thought for me: stars hitting the grid. I don't understand, but okay. But anyway, that's about it for now. That is so far the end of the story. Much like post fantasy, I will rather wait until there's, you know, a bit more before we come back to this. Any thoughts on Movada? Well, the mall in the name stands out to me, so maybe there's some sort of meme going on there. I don't know. Seems kind of interesting that there's like bones and shit, and then suddenly, and there's attack, and suddenly like super affable right after. I don't know. I don't have enough data. I don't have enough data to make a call. I would say it's a Latin translation, and the pronunciation of their name, Malvada. Yeah, that's how I thought I pronounced it. I thought I pronounced it that way. Unless... well, I mean, the mole is what caught me right away, because, like, okay, that means, like, evil, or bad, or wrong, right? In Latin, or Latin-derived languages. And of course, that's where my brain's gonna go, because it's called Viva Pinata, and pinatas are, like... fuck, am I gonna be, like, racist for a second? Are pinatas, like, specifically Mexican, or is that a shared thing among multiple Hispanic cultures? I don't know. But I know it's like it has Hispanic roots, right? So, if you wanted to have a meme name, you would use something that's like either Hispanic, or you would take it a step further, because because Spanish is derived from Latin to a degree, right? Much like French or Italian, they're to a degree derived from Latin. Obviously, like French and Spanish and Italian are all very different from Latin, but so the mall part of the name stands out to me like right away. But anyway, with I think with those little final thoughts stated, I think we're gonna call it a stream. That's gonna be it for Dragonache Awakening, at least for now, at least until first try. It took you very long to think of a name for them. The name making, you just thought, hey, Latin is old languages, you think? Hey, considering it's implied to be a very ancient creature, you use that. Fair enough. Yeah, that's a decent meme. Excuse me. Yeah, not a bad meme. Anyway, as I was saying, so it's gonna be it for Dragonache Awakening, at least for now, until there's a few more chapters built up in the backlog. And then if we come back to it, it'll be at that time. Then we'll see when we can do more at a later date. Same thing with Post Fantasy. I'm not gonna read Post Fantasy, even though more has been added to it. One, Chapter 5 isn't even complete yet. Even though there's a bunch of content I could just read on stream, I'd rather wait until Chapter 5 is at least complete before I did that. And even if Chapter 5 is complete, it's gonna depend on how long it is before I decide whether or not I want to do another stream on it, on Post Fantasy. You're gonna rewatch the stream to see what you missed? Okay, no worries. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you were able to make it. I'm sorry that you made it after I finished reading the story. I feel kind of bad now. But thanks for stopping by nonetheless. And I think that's gonna be it for now. Thanks everybody for watching, for stopping by, for chatting. See you all next time. Next time I see you should be tomorrow on my other channel for Trails from Zero at 8 p.m. Eastern. But we'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching, and good night.